thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we are going to be reviewing Little Thieves. It's a book I read quite some time ago, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I think my main issue with the novel is the pacing, honestly. It's a really interesting novel. It's actually a retelling of The Goose Girl by Brothers Grimm, I believe. And I think this is the second retelling of that fairy tale that I've read. And I like that it's not a retelling of, the same old thing, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast. I like that it's Cinderella. I like that it's a different fairy tale. And I like our main protagonist because she's not exactly good. She's an anti-hero. And I love that about her. I just wish the story, to me, it felt very dragged out. It felt very much like the author was stretching the story as thin as it could be. And it really is an interesting story, but it could have been so much faster because you're following Vanja. And Vanja is basically the godchild of death and fortune. Her parents were just like, I can't take care of her anymore. Left her in the woods and, here you go. Here's this little human. And just ran off, right? So she grew up under the tutelage of the god of fortune and the god of death, She was basically their daughter. And then she came of age. And they said, okay, you're of age now, so now you have to pledge the rest of your life to one of us. So they treated her more like a servant than a daughter, and that really hurt her. So basically, Vanja's like, well, screw that. She becomes a lady's maid, and guess what? She steals the princess's identity. Because that is the core of what the Goose Girl is. Goose Girl is princess, her identity gets stolen by her lady's maid, and then she has to fight to get her identity back. Fortunately for her, the princess doesn't really want her identity back, but, that's kind of moot point. It's in the story. She does have to face that again, but neither here nor there. Not prevalent to this review. So the reason she did this is because she is trying to gain her own fortune. So she has a magical item that makes her look like the princess during the day, and then at night she takes it off, she's herself again, and she's robbing nobles under their nose. She steals from them. And she's trying to amass her own fortune so that she can leave the country and leave death and fortune behind and be like, see, I don't need you to take care of me. I can make my own way in the world. So she's an anti-hero. Fortunately, her fiancé, well, he's not exactly a good guy, and he has his own pact with his own demons. That also kind of includes sacrificing her. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, it reminds me of spinning silver. That's right. So there's a lot, there's a lot that's going on in the story. And it's an interesting plot, and it's an interesting story, because now you're anti-hero who's being hunted by an investigator who is very scholarly, and unfortunately I didn't write his name down in my notes. He's very scholarly, and he's hunting her down, the thief. So they form an alliance, and they have their own little slow burn romance. It's really interesting to see your anti-hero, this thief, become the hero, She's gonna just save the country and herself and put the bad guys in their spot. It's interesting. It is an interesting plot because of that, but my God, does it drag. It drags out so much. And I think that really takes away from the characterization, because I do think Vanja is a really good character. But there's lots of repetition. It does feel like a Grimm fairy tale, but it's repetitious in that aspect. I think Owen was really trying to establish this otherworldly, Grimm fairy tale-esque medieval Germany in her world. And it's like, okay, we get it. it was very repetitious throughout the entire book. You know, the same woods, the same atmosphere. I think it was unnecessary. Because once you establish the atmosphere once, I don't think you need to re-establish it in such detail again and again and again and again and again throughout the story. I think that's where you're kind of distracting. Because at some point, I was like, okay, I get it. The woods are spooky. Can we get on? Can we just go on with the story? You know, you lost me at that by the third time. Because I'm like, I already can envision this world here. I can already envision the type of world that we are in. You already have me in the atmosphere, you know, with the crackling wood fires in her bedroom. There are a lot of different ways in order to recapture that atmosphere that I don't think the author really, I don't think that they really honed in on, because they did do that, you know, those subtle details, while also reestablishing the scenery outside a lot. And I didn't really need, I wanted more showing and less telling, because it really dampened the plot line, it really dampened the pacing, and it really, I think, took away from the characterization, because the story really does have good characterization. I really did think Vanja is really good, but at the end of the day, I found the story to be unmemorable. It felt like it was way too long, and it could have been much more shorter and faster paced, and I think it still would have been the same story, except I think it would have been stronger if it had been a little bit more concise and a little bit more fast paced. Because really what slowed down the pacing was the constant reiteration of the atmosphere and the setting, and I don't think that was necessary to the story. So this is, you know, the first book in the trilogy. Will I read books 2 and 3? I haven't decided yet. Right now I'm trying to focus on reading all the books that I know that I want to read and know that I am desperately wanting to get to. But maybe down the line I might audiobook them. I don't think I would buy them though. So, you know, it is what it is. It was okay. It wasn't the best. I wanted more from it. So I would give it 3 out of 5 stars. But you know, at least it was different, and that I did appreciate. And I liked an anti-hero as our main protagonist. In any case, thank you all for tuning in to this review. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book-loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.